Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Wishwell Farms, and happy Labor Day. Many of you have the day off in the United States, but for a vegetable farmer, there's still work that has to be done. Cucumbers and zucchini and cantaloupes don't ever take a break. They have to be picked every other day. So as soon as Emma shows up and my son come outside, we're going to head out in the fields and get those three items gathered up. And I pushed back the starting time just a little bit today because of the comfortable temperatures. So we're not heading out there till 8:30. It was nice to sleep in a little bit and relax around the house and enjoy my coffee and breakfast and not having to rush out and join the crew for an early harvest. So it'll be 8:30 today instead of 7:30 or 8, and we'll head out in the fields and get this work done. All right, we're getting ready to pick these cantaloupes, and there are quite a few out here. After that extreme heat wave we had all last week, it brought patch number 3 on quick. As you look out there, you can see all the yellowish tan beige color melons that are ripe. So here's one that's basically green as grass still, that's not ripe compared to this color. And here's a good comparison side by side. Green, ripe. At this end of the field, they fortunately have good size still, but I know in the back where they were underwater during some of those 3-inch rains we had, they're kind of small because the vines didn't survive. We'll probably leave a lot of those out there. And then patch number 2, we still have to go through it one more time. There's still a few big ones out there, but not many, probably less than a half a bin. I'm guessing we'll get almost 3 bins right here. And then we'll get a couple more small picks throughout this week, and by next week they'll be done. So the way we're going to harvest these today is just a little bit different. Instead of me driving with maybe 3 or 4 people picking, throwing to a catcher, all 3 of us are just going to row them up, kind of like the way we pick watermelons. We're going to make one swipe down this patch and put ripe ones on either outside row, and then we'll drive the tractor down along the rows and pick them all up. Think we can get it all in one pass? It's probably not that big of a deal to leave some of the ones that are barely ripe. Okay. Just because the coolness now don't hold on right. But if they have that yellow color, we definitely need to get them.
Small ones too?
Not too small. Like the $4 size and up. Like even this size, I'll probably pick. I think we're going to need a lot of small ones. I've showed this many times in other videos of us picking cantaloupes, but not only do you look for the yellow, tan, beige color, whatever you want to call that, the stem usually gets a little perforation line around it, and it pops off. It's called a slip. See how that looks like almost like a puzzle piece. It fits right in there. Just pops right out. And if you smell where the stem popped off, you can smell the sweetness of the cantaloupe. All right, here we go. We got a pretty good row of melons down both outside rows. And since we're only filling our bins about 2/3 full because of the melon shells starting to get a little softer late in the season, it has nothing to do with them being overripe. It's just the shorter day length and less sunlight, they tend to get a little bit soft shelled. And if we fill the bins all the way up, they will get smashed on the bottom layer. So we're gonna fill up the 3 that we brought down, and then I'm sure I'm gonna have to run back up and get 3 more. And don't worry, I'm not gonna make Gavin throw them all up there. I'll get down and do my share too. Still got some really nice quality and good size. Some of those big ones are like a 80 count melon. That means it would take 80 melons to fill the bin level. Most of them are probably 100 counts now, but there's definitely some good size down there still. We're just getting started, and our second bin is almost full already. Well, at least half full. All right, we filled 3 bins, about 2/3 of the way full. Like I said, I don't like to fill them up all the way because it's so much weight and they are bouncing in the field. And because they're a little softer shell this time of year, they will tend to bruise. And I don't want to have to throw a bunch of bruised melons away. So I'm going to go up and offload these and bring 3 more bins down. I think we only need 2 more bins, but I'll bring 3 just to be on the safe side. And Gavin and Emma are going to go ahead and start picking zucchini while I go bring down some fresh bins. Back on the zucchini. There's a nice zucchini blossom and a nice small one, so you can see there's still decent zucchini coming. Oh, I ran over that one. Beautiful zucchini. It was perfect. This is patch number 2, and it's nearing the end of its life. I mean, there's still a few blossoms coming in small zucchini, but not much. There's a little bit of powdery mildew out here, and I haven't been watering them for the last 3 weeks because I've been watering more important crops like broccoli, cauliflower, and peppers. But it has been nice to not have to water this old zucchini and cucumber patch. The cucumbers are done. We have one more new row by the tree line over there that we're going to check out here in a little bit. I haven't had to water the winter squash either. It's all ready to be picked. Some of it is already picked. We're going to finish picking that and getting it all harvested this week at some point. Right now, let's finish up these zucchini, and then we can finish picking up the next 2 or 3 bins of cantaloupe. Not really seeing anything over here right now. I think you're getting near the end of the good stuff. Here's an example of what happens when the plant health declines and lack of moisture. You get these skinny tips. Fortunately, we aren't seeing too much like that, but if I rip the plastic and look down here, there's still some moisture actually in the soil. It's not that dry. Zucchini is pretty forgiving when it comes to irrigating. Early in the plant life, when it's setting fruit for the first time, you definitely want to have plenty of moisture under the plastic, or you're going to get a misshapen fruit. But when the zucchini is well established and cranking out lots of zucchini, it doesn't really need water that much. I can turn the water off after 2 or 3 weeks of harvesting, and it just keeps on coming. It's pretty amazing how vigorous zucchini plants are even without getting water. I feel like sunlight and heat is probably more important than water. Maybe not early on, but later on. Look down inside this flower here. Look at all those cucumber beetles. Wow. This is where they're all hanging out during last night's cold 57 degrees. They don't like that. Look at that nice little pretty zucchini coming. You know, that one will be ready for Friday's pick. And right underneath it, you can see how easy it is to miss them. There's a perfect zucchini ready to harvest. Even the one right beside it is just about there, but we'll save that one for Wednesday's pick. You can see there's some black, nasty, hard-shelled zucchini there that we're not going to harvest. If you miss the zucchini for a couple weeks, they start turning black. They'll either get too big or they're like start turning a black color and not be this glossy green color, and we don't pick those. There's a beauty. And then we pop off the blossom. This is about as small as we go. I'd consider that a small banana size, a little bit bigger than a bratwurst. There's about the perfect zucchini right there. Like a big banana. So early in the season, when I'm training my employees that are new, we have them cut the zucchinis with a knife. But after a while, we always tend to just go back to ripping them off. If you just rip it from back here, sometimes the stem will snap off too far back on the meat of the zucchini and it kind of ruins it. So I tell them to grab the stem when they twist. That way you ensure that the stem is not going to snap off of the zucchini and expose the meat. Then we pop off the blossom into the tub. And I would say that one's about full. We're gonna need more tubs, I think. I always love this time of year because things are kind of winding down and not so stressful and hectic. But in past years, we'd be moving into our pumpkin crop right now. I know many of you have asked me if I'm growing pumpkins, or if you've heard me talk about how I'm not growing pumpkins, you're wondering why. I have talked about it briefly in several other videos, and I plan to get more into depth, go more into depth on why we're not planting pumpkins. And I'll explain all the details behind it and show you some of our past pumpkin crops, how we grew them, how we harvested them, how we displayed them at our farm market. But this year, no pumpkins. But I will talk about it more in a future video. Just finished picking our zucchini, and you can see down here, they are really stunted and pale, and it has nothing to do with watering or fertilization. Got a noisy airplane flying overhead. This is where they were underwater. Everything back here was under inches of water after that last 3-inch rain. We've had 3-inch rains in the last couple months, but even with all that, we're in drought conditions now. My green beans and sweet corn are gonna start suffering. Another thing I forgot to mention about the pumpkin crop, I'm gonna go into detail about what it's gonna cost me to not grow pumpkins, because usually that's a good source of revenue during late September and first 2 weeks of October to help, cash flow our farm and help the bottom line. So I'll get into more detail about that as well, about how much it is or isn't going to cost me not having pumpkins this year. Smaller ones down at this end. Yummy. There's a nice one. Just finished up with zucchini and cucumbers. If you're wondering why this row is empty, it's because we ran out of cucumber plants. We only had enough for one full row and about 2/3. So we got about 100 feet section right here where we ran out of plants because we spaced them at 1 foot instead of 18 inches. I think I planted them or seeded them in the transplant house thinking I was going to put them at 1.5 foot apart. But we have found that 1 foot apart is better. We get a fuller row. And then we have an entire row here. You can see it's all messed up. That was from the flood. I never got it fixed right, and it was supposed to be for the second row of zucchini, but we decided to only do one row of zucchini for our final planting. That is planting number 3. When that one runs its course, we will be done with zucchini for the year, and I'm thinking that'll get us through September. All right, heading back up to the barn to get all these cantaloupes and cucumbers washed. Oh, I forgot to mention, cantaloupe patch number 2 is done. I think we found 5 cantaloupes on it. So that one's getting mowed down and sprayed so we can get the drip tape pulled up. And I'm guessing we only have maybe 2 or 3 bins left to pick this week, and then all the cantaloupes will be done for the year. All right, we're back up at the barn, getting everything washed. And I am glad to have some help today and not have to wash all these cantaloupes by myself. Glad to have Emma and Gavin down here helping. Oh, there's a bad one. Blown out on the bottom. Still a good melon. I might eat it for lunch. Alrighty folks, I think we're all finished up with harvest for today. We ended up with just a hair over 425 cantaloupe and 7 tubs of zucchini and 1 measly tub of cucumbers from the new row that's just starting. Seeing how it's Labor Day and all, I think we're going to take some time off from laboring the rest of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed your Labor Day. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it and hope to see you all again real soon down on the farm.